Hey everybody, Mike here from CMMG, and I'm out the range, brought a few guns with me. I was going to do a little bit of shooting today, and I just kind of realized I've got each of these guns set up a little bit differently. So let's just go over the top 5 accessories for your AR, coming up next. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and like I said at the start of the video, we're going to go over the top 5 accessories for your AR. But okay, you know what? Top 5 lists are kind of subjective, so I'm going to go over my top 5 accessories for an AR. And you might find some of these useful. You might find different things that you would prefer to use. And if you have something different, feel free to hit us up in the comments down below. Let me know how you like your gun set up. What do you think my list is, how you think my list is wrong. But we're going to start off with, a few things that aren't necessarily going to be in the top 5, but I believe they need to be mentioned. Obviously, first and foremost, you need to have ammunition and magazines. If you don't have ammunition and magazines, it's not a range day. It's not a proper tool. You don't have everything you need to use it. So, ammunition and magazines, that should be a given. But we'll just go ahead and pass along on that. Other things are going to be things that you're going to see in your range bag, like cleaning kits. Yeah, believe it or not, this little guy here is a cleaning kit. It's kind of shaped like a magazine. You can actually put this into a mag pouch if you would like. So something to have on you. Now that's going to be a good accessory to have for your guns, because once you get done shooting them, you definitely need to clean them. Okay, another one that's not still on the list, but it is something you should have, is going to be some type of eye and ear protection. Going out to the range and being able to practice and train with these things, you're going to want to take care of yourself. Eye and ear protection, that's a given also. You need that stuff. The other things that I'm about to get into in my top 5 list are going to be things that I think will actually help you operate your AR a little bit better. So let's just go ahead and dive right in here. First thing I would be recommending would be a sling. This is a bit of an older sling. I have been a Magpul fan since way back. This is one of the original style MS slings. It actually says Magpul Dynamics on it instead of just Magpul. So, I mean, this thing is old as can be, but the thing has been an incredible sling for me. And there are a lot more updated versions of these. We even have them on our website. So I would highly recommend a quality sling for sure. Something like this one is going to be able to go and be single point, and it's going to be able to go 2-point. So I can actually attach this thing in a single point configuration. I can grab my gun here. I can attach it to the sling attachment on the gun. And now I've got a decent single point attachment. The neat thing about the Magpul style MS slings are the fact that you can actually take and undo it, and you can attach it to a front mounting solution, loosen up the sling just a little bit, and then you can take and throw it over your shoulder too. So you can actually, you go into the range. If you're out in the woods hunting or whatever, you want to be able to have your hands free. So this is going to be a good way to be able to carry your gun on you and still keep your hands free. So number 5, a sling. Move around along to number 4. I'm going to recommend upgrading your charging handle. A lot of ARs, or at least standard ARs, come with kind of that mil-spec small charging handle. You step up to one of our 300 series in any of our platforms, you're going to get a nice big charging handle. And this is something I highly recommend, because one of the things you want to be able to do is you want to be able to take and you want to be able to load that gun as easy as possible. You don't want to be fumbling with it. Being able to do it one-handed, two-handed, left-handed, those are all options that you can have on a decent charging handle. So something a little bit bigger, something that will possibly even get out of the way of your optics, is a great option too. So if you had a big scope or something on top, the ability to still be able to get that charging handle is going to be an incredible option for you. So charging handle, number 4. All right, number 3 is going to be something like a hand stop vertical grip, some type of foregrip or something for you here. And this is, again, most of these things are going to be subjective, especially where you want to place it on the rail itself. So that's going to be all personal preference. But I like having something up here because this allows me to grab my gun and operate it and have the same grip on it the same way every time. So when I bring my gun up like this, I'm just used to this. This is what feels right for me. So I have the same purchase every time. And whenever you have the same purchase on your gun and you're doing the same way, or the same thing, the same way every time, that allows for so much more consistency in your training. So being able to have something like that is awesome. If you take a look at some of the shorter offerings, like, this little 9mm pistol, hand stops, things like that are awesome options too. Because you start getting into some of these shorter configurations, that helps you keep your hand from being in front of the muzzle. And yes, I did chamber check these before I started recording, so that was not a party foul. But this allows your hand to be able to stop on there every time. So it's that consistency in the stability of being able to hold it. So number 3, some type of foregrip. Moving right along to number 2, let's talk triggers. Now, again, like most everything I've had on this list, these are all subjective. Trigger upgrades are going to be one of the things that most everybody almost always asks about on a gun. And you can go as simple as keeping one of our incredible mil-spec triggers in your gun and just upgrading the springs if you would like something a little bit lighter. I've got some guns that have had some of our mil-spec lower parts kit triggers in them, and I've put thousands, tens of thousands of rounds through some of those guns, and they just get butter smooth. And I actually really impress people because they wonder what my trigger is. I'm like, just a basic mil spec that I've shot the crap out of. So that's one option you can do. But then there are going to be things like 2-stage triggers, drop-in trigger sets, flat bow triggers, curve bow triggers, binary style triggers, a ton of different options for you. So being able to get yourself a good trigger that you're going to be comfortable with and you're going to be able to shoot consistently with is one thing that I would highly recommend. And get something that's going to work for your application. I mean, if you're looking at long range shooting, you're probably going to want something with a really light, crisp break. If you're looking more defensive, you might want a hint of a heavier trigger. I'm sure people are going to object to my saying that, but you don't want it to go off when your finger just barely touches it. You want to be able to make sure that you're putting pressure on that trigger and ready to go. So there's a ton of different options for triggers out there. I believe we've got Trigger Tech triggers on our website right now, so make sure you go check those out. So number 2, upgrading your trigger. All right, guys, before I get into number 1, I would like to go over a couple real quick honorable mentions. Those are going to be, in no particular order, a flashlight, because unfortunately, bad things happen at the most inopportune time. And a lot of times that means it is dark outside. So having the ability to be able to light up your target and make sure you are aware of what your target is and what is beyond, that is going to be a great bit of gear for you. So having the ability to put a flashlight on your gun is something I would highly recommend. Now, a lot of you don't necessarily run these for defensive use, so maybe that doesn't apply to you. So flashlight, that's a good option in my opinion. Another good option is going to be some type of different muzzle device, whether it's going to be a small little break, if it's going to be something that is going to be a flash hider / way to mount a suppressor on it, or just a flash hider in general. Different muzzle devices are going to allow you to adapt your gun, again, for whatever it is that you need it for. A suppressor could be considered a muzzle device. But most ARs are going to come with some type of muzzle device that's going to be pretty decent out of the box, and it's going to work just fine for you. But if you want to fine tune it just a little bit, there's plenty to choose from there. Now's the time you guys have been waiting for. We've made it to number 1. And no big surprise, optics. You can't hit it if you can't see it or you can't aim at it. So optics are going to be one of the biggest things that you're going to need to be able to put on your AR-15. Whether it's going to be something like a little red dot sight, or a magnified optic, or something that is going to give you variable power. There are a ton of different options when it comes to optics to set it up for your need. So if you If you are looking for defensive use, little red dots like this are incredible. I mean, you bring them up, you've got a nice little red dot in there. You can shoot both eyes open, so you don't have to worry about the stress of focusing on the target. It's literally focus on the target, put that dot on the target. Great for defensive use. You get into some of the variable power stuff. You know, this is a little fixed 4-power ACOG. Again, this is my beater gun. I've had it for years. I mean, this optic, if Marines can't tear these things up, I know I'm not going to be able to too. So I wanted something that's going to be really robust and going to be able to handle anything that I throw at it. The nice thing about this is 4-power is going to give you pretty good magnification for most anything you're going to need 100 yards or so or more if you absolutely need it. And with a little bit of proper training, you can actually use that with both eyes open too. But if you're looking at hunting, competition, a good variable power optic, like a low power variable optic, is going to be incredible. And there's a lot of great ones out there right now that go from 1 power all the way up to 8 power with a variable knob on them. So you can go 1 power, which is going to be similar to these little guys, and it's going to allow you to have really fast target acquisition. But if you really need to punch it out for distance, you can zoom it out to, you know, upwards of 8 power. So an optic, that is something I would highly recommend. If you can't do an optic, at least do irons. If you can, do both, because in the case of these two guys right here, they're battery operated. Granted, they are quality optics and the batteries are going to last forever, but batteries fail, optics fail. Having the ability to have some type of backup sight in case that fails is going to be a great option too. And I did mention quality. I've been in the AR game for quite some time. In my first AR, I spent my hard-earned money on, and I cheaped out on the optic. Went out and shot it, was out an hour or two, it broke. I went and swapped it, took it out, it broke. I went and returned it, got a little bit better optic, got a little bit more life out of it. Returned it, and just bought a good quality optic. And since then, I've not looked back, because you're going to want something that's going to be able to perform when you need it to. So I would highly recommend getting a quality optic. All right, everybody, I really thank you for taking the time to watch my opinion on the top 5 accessories for your AR. However, the video is not done, because there's one more thing that I cannot recommend enough, and that is training. Because all of the accessories that I just talked to you about amount to jack squat if you don't know how to run your gun. And I'm not talking just watching videos online and think you're an operator, because you need real world training. You need to be able to have an instructor, an accredited instructor, watch what you're doing. If you're messing something up, help guide you in the way of fixing that, because videos don't do that. While they are good tools and they do give you some good information and things to think about and maybe practice a little bit in front of a mirror, nothing is going to substitute on the range with an instructor learning how to operate these. You know, fixing failures, fixing malfunctions, reloads. You know, does the gun go down? Do you have to go to your secondary? There's a lot of different options out there. And like I said, you're going to do nobody any good if you aren't trained. So ultimately, the best accessory for your AR is a well-trained you. So guys, that's really all I've got for today. I thank you for sticking around watching this video. Again, this is just me talking about things that I think are good accessories for your AR. What did I miss? Hit me up in the comments down below. If you made it this far and you thought this was entertaining, or you thought there was some good information here, please do me a favor and give me a like, because that really helps us out in the algorithm. Lets me know what you want to see more of. So I'm going to go ahead and finish playing on the range here a little bit. And you guys, as always, stay safe out there.